Hi, it's Mckeon here. I'm an author, speaker and peak performance coach, and I have a real passion for sustainable peak performance. That's why I'm so delighted to be working with the My Wellbeing team to create a series of very short videos exclusively for your use to try to help you through the very demanding times that many of you are currently experiencing or the busy times that a lot of you are about to go into. And it can be ironic that sometimes when we most need these strategies and techniques, we just don't feel like doing it. We don't have the energy, we don't feel like we have the time. But all the advice I'm going to give you is evidence-based, it's science-based, and small things can just make a really big difference. And today's topic is de-stressing. That's when you've had that tough day and it's hard to come home and separate that and recover and get ready for the next day. And stress creates fatigue. It makes us crave salty and fatty foods. It makes it harder for us to get unbroken sleep. And it generally makes life less productive and less enjoyable. And it's all too easy just after a tough day at work to come home and feel like you'd like to have some alcohol or junk food. And they definitely have their place. But the problem with alcohol, it takes the edge off. And that's probably why we like to use it. But the issue is it still takes the edge off the next day. We're just not quite performing at our best. We're not as productive, and it can tend to lead to fatigue over a period of days and weeks. And it's very habit forming. And junk food's the same. When you're under pressure and you're feeling stressed, then your body's craving fat and sugar, the cake, the chocolates, that sort of thing. But the problem with that is it might give you about 10 minutes of satisfaction, but junk food today means no energy tomorrow. So again, it makes it harder and it tends to repeat a cycle. So I'd love you to have both active and passive, more natural de-stressing options. Because sometimes we just really feel like we've had that stress response. We need to do something active. It's really hard to just think your way back to calm. So if you're driving home, turning your radio up and singing loud, safely, but singing loud, something to let it out. Like shooting a round of pool, shooting a few baskets, going for a walk, chopping wood, be careful, but something active just to let it out. Even dance if no one's watching, because you just sometimes got to let it out. And 10 minutes can make a really big difference. There's also a passive option that I'd really love you to consider because it can be hugely beneficial. So I've had a really tough day at work today. People have been hard to get on with. The traffic has been a nightmare. I'm late home. And all I've done since I've got home is I've taken off my shirt, just put on a top. And all I feel like doing now is sitting on that couch, grabbing a beer, turning on that TV. But I know if I do that, within 5 minutes I'm going to be asleep. I'm not going to sleep well later. It's going to be hard for me to recover and have a good day tomorrow. So instead of doing that, I'm actually going to get on the ground and I'm going to stretch. So I'm just going to grab a pillow. I'm going to kick off my shoes. I haven't even bothered changing my work pants. I'm going to put this pillow on the ground and I'm going to sit down in a minute and I'm going to stretch. Stretching is a basic human need and a fantastic way of de-stressing. We often stretch during the day without even realising it. We get out of a truck or we get up from a desk and we feel like we need to stretch. Well, it's a fantastic way to de-stress when we come home at night. So I'm just going to sit myself down on this pillow. The reason I use the pillow is because I'm not very flexible and it just elevates my hips and it makes it much easier for me to get the stretch. And I might even just do something like this where I'll pull my knee across my chest, try to sit up straight, and I'll inhale for a slow count of 4. I'll hold it for 4 and I'll exhale for 4. So I'm just bringing it in, I'm breathing in, 2, 3, 4, holding it for a couple of seconds, 2, 3, 4, and exhaling. And even that control of your breathing makes a huge difference to other aspects of your body. So the stretches don't need to be anything fancy. The things that you did when you're at school, or if you've ever played sport, that you would use for warm up or warm down afterwards. And after I've done this, I might just lean back a bit and roll my knees from side to side, slowly using that same breathing control. And even doing this for a couple of minutes, you can feel yourself starting to slow down. Then I might sit up, and if my knees are okay, I might bring one leg in and I might try to reach forward over to my hands. And if I can't reach that far, I'll just grab on my knee. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. I'll do it the other side. There's lots of different things you can do. You can actually even watch TV while you're doing it. And you might even end up sitting cross-legged when you've got this pillow to elevate your hips. I'm breathing, I'm controlling. And the magic of this, after 10 minutes of stretching, very often I don't feel like that beer anymore, I don't feel like that junk food anymore, and I don't feel like going to sleep anymore. So it's a real win-win. The final thing about de-stressing is about understanding when problems are relatively minor. The most resilient people have the ability to distinguish between big problems, which is like people's health and people's state of mind and that sort of thing, as opposed to smaller problems like someone who's a bit hard to get on with or difficult people at work or traffic and so on. So I try to ask myself, is this a big problem? And if the answer's no, then I just try to let it go. It's easier said than done, but it's a great skill to have if you can do it. So this week, there's 3 specific things I'd love you to give a try. The first one is have both active and passive de-stressing options. The active one is where you let it out. You sing or you act and let something out. The passive one, like stretching or just deep breathing or looking at a view for a while, anything like that. The second aspect is to understand that even 10 minutes can make a big difference, a huge difference to your body. And the third thing is to understand when problems are small, just to be able to let them go. You'll feel fresher in the morning and you'll be able to sustain that peak performance. And when you're in really demanding periods, as you are now, it's great to have these skills. So I really hope you give it a try this week. Have a fantastic week.